Hi everyone, I'm Caitlin Proctor, editor of Winston-Salem Monthly Magazine and Spark Magazine, a product of the Winston-Salem Journal. Even in times of a national pandemic, we felt it important to bring you the 5th annual 7/70 Awards, which we lovingly put out in conjunction every year with Senior Services. This year's winners are true role models for the community, especially considering they've only become more active during COVID-19. I want to personally thank them for being a cheerleader and champion for the city of Winston-Salem, and I wasn't lying when I said I made 7 new best friends this year. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank our corporate sponsors, who include Pennyburn Retirement Community, Iora Health, and Parkway Ford Lincoln. And now, I'd like to introduce Winston-Salem's Mayor, Alan Joines, and Lee Covington, CEO and President of Senior Services.
Hello everyone, I'm Alan Joines, Mayor of Winston-Salem, and it's my pleasure and honor to join you virtually as we celebrate the 7/70 Awards once again this year. It's always my pleasure to be a part of this event because it really helps celebrate the many contributions that the individuals that are being recognized today have given to our community of Winston-Salem. I've looked at the list and I think I know every one of the honorees tonight, and I have worked with many of them on many projects over the years, and I know firsthand the great positive contributions they've made to our city. So on behalf of the citizens of Winston-Salem, all 250,000 of us, I express my sincere congratulations and, more importantly, my thank you to each one of these individuals for helping make Winston-Salem the very special place that it is. Congratulations.
Hello friends, I'm Lee Covington, President and CEO for Senior Services. On behalf of the more than 2,800 older adults who receive services from us yearly, our Board of Directors, and our dedicated and energized army of more than 1,600 volunteers, I bring you greetings and thank you for joining our 5th annual 7/70 Awards. Once again, we are proud to partner with the Winston-Salem Journal and Spark Magazine to recognize 7 outstanding older adults who have made and continue to make a significant impact on the lives of others across our great community. They have demonstrated through their tireless work, generosity, and service that one person can truly make a great and lasting difference in a community, a city, and even the world. As we navigate these challenging times that we call 2020, each of us can look to these 7 individuals as a guiding star, a shining example of how to overcome adversity, not only for ourselves, but for one another. We know that the level of impact and community enrichment resulting from the work of these 7 community leaders has not come easily. Certainly, there have been challenges, struggles, and roadblocks along the way. But our 7 honorees have demonstrated determination, perseverance, and resilience. Each of them serves as a model for what we all hope to become, a standard to which we can all aspire. So as we come together today to honor the lives and contributions of Phyllis Dunning, Richard Groves, Jeannette Lawson Jackson, Nick Jamison, Sam Matthews, Bill McLean, and Althea Taylor-Jones, I know that you will all join me on behalf of Senior Services to say congratulations to each honoree for achieving this recognition of their hard work and thank them for all that they have done and continue to do to make life better for so many in our community.
I'm Phyllis Dunning. I am now 87. What keeps me busy before COVID was every day I would try to go to either to a performance, a museum, an art gallery, a lecture, and take time to read for the 2 book clubs I'm in. So every day was something enriching and enjoyable. Then since the virus has struck, now I mainly listen to and watch videos from the Symphony, Piedmont Opera, Metropolitan Opera, Reynolda House, and I do probably now write more handwritten notes and letters than I did for a while. Well, I've always been a reader. My father used to say, when he would try, there were 5 children in the family, and Dad would say, now let's all gather outside and play badminton or play basketball. And he said, I was always the one who would grab a book and go hide. Then I had wonderful teachers, then especially my high school English teacher. I would think, oh, when I really grow up, I want to do what she's doing. So she's the reason I wanted to be an English teacher. But when I think about the way teaching was when I began, I lived and taught in a very fortunate time for me. I had a call from the associate superintendent. I said, what do you have in mind? He said, I need a white English teacher to go to Atkins, which had an all-black student body. I was born and teaching, I think, at the right time, because that was a very rewarding, exciting experience. I said, I am so looking forward to desegregating classes because I want you to see that there are going to be some white students who are just as smart and just as wonderful and sometimes just as tardy and just as talkative as you are. And I am eager for the white students to come to see that there are black students, you, who are just as smart, just as wonderful, just as tardy and talkative and sometimes misbehaving as they do. So I said, that's going to be an exciting time. And it really was. I loved it. I would tell them, your first assignment is, if you are black, I want you to start looking around and find a white student that you can become friends with. And if you are a white student, start now. Find a black student that you can start developing a relationship with. Well, my impact on students cannot compare with their impact on me. I mean, I learned so much from them. How does it feel to be named a 7 over 70? Well, it's rather surreal, bizarre, and overwhelming because, I mean, I don't feel deserving, but I do know that I am way, way, way over 70, so age-wise, I certainly qualify. But those who nominated me were too kind and give me far more credit than I deserve. Life is a joy.
Okay, my name is Richard Groves, and I'm 77 years old. Some of the things keep me busy. I retired 12 years ago, And after retiring from Wake Forest Baptist Church on the campus of Wake Forest University, where I had been pastor for 23 years, I began teaching at High Point University as an adjunct in the religion and philosophy department. And then 7 years later, I retired again. And that's when I began writing op-eds for the journal. My wife, Nikki, and I have, between the two of us, 12 children, 12 adult children, and 11 grandchildren. So just keeping up with the family is a daily exercise. And taking care of a 127-year-old house is also, it takes up a considerable amount of time. So we will stay busy. When you begin ministering in a community, obviously you're going to focus on your congregation and connections with other clergy. But I think it's really important for a new minister in town to very quickly identify organizations and groups, whether religious or not, that are dealing with what I would call justice issues, justice issues, and begin to make those connections and to form those kind of networks, which is what I tried to do pretty much from the beginning. These young people are in the streets. I've been to a couple of marches. I don't know what connection those young people have with church. We set up a booth downtown with water and ice. I didn't see any other churches that did that. Why not? Things I look back on as being significant. And one of them is probably one I would put at the top of my list, would be the involvement Wake Forest Baptist Church had in gay and lesbian issues, largely speaking, and it was hugely controversial. We were kicked out of everything Baptist, you know. The university essentially disowned us, and because the pastorate is sort of the pastor is the GP, the general practitioner, the family doctor. You do a little of everything. The real strength of the pastorate is you're involved in people's lives from birth to death, everything in between. And to be involved in the deep issue, what I would call the deep issues of life, that's what really attracted me more than anything to the pastorate. So one of the things I would say to any young clergy is keep the balance. You know, you have to be spiritually, psychologically, mentally, and physically healthy. And that has to be first. Because if you're not healthy in all of those areas, you're not going to be a good pastor. I'll give you one quote, because Jerry Schmucker, for whatever else he lacked, he had the one-liners. He said, "There ain't nothing that's worth less than a dead preacher." That was his way of saying, take care of yourself. I'm just honored to be in the group. And I wish I had thought to show you something that's on my desk right now. Because when my son, who lives with me, lives here, found out that I was going to receive this, he went out and he bought me a gift. And do you remember the movie The Christmas Story, the bicycle, the Red Ryder BB gun, and the part about major award? You know what the major award was? It was the lamp with the leg. That's what he bought me. He said, "This is in honor of your group, the 7/70. You got a major award."
Okay, my name is Jeannette Lawson Jackson, and I'm proudly 73 years old. I was teaching high school at Glenn High School when I became ill in May of 1990. Actually, I had just been elected president of the Forsyth County Teachers Association, but I was never able to fill that position because of my illness. Guillain-Barré syndrome is considered a rare illness. It's an autoimmune illness. An unknown virus affects your peripheral nerves, and it can render you totally paralyzed. For me, I had a very severe case and was on life support for 4 months and totally paralyzed. So it was a long journey. I always tried to encourage my students that everybody has something to give back, that everybody can make a difference. Actually, I posted that in humongous letters across the wall in my room every year, make a difference. And so I kept asking myself, how was I going to be able to make a difference now? I couldn't go back to the classroom. When I was a senior in high school, my high school principal called me to his office one day and he said, Jeannette, I really think you need to become a teacher. And I'm going, whoa. Because I hadn't really considered becoming a teacher. And so after his talk with me, I applied to Appalachian, where he suggested I apply, and ended up majoring in education. Well, I'm always very humbled by even being looked at as a role model. And I'm so appreciative of all the support that not only my former students, but the community and just the community at large gave to me and still gives to me. I think my heart, having been in education, once an educator, I'll always be an educator. So I really just diverted teaching education in the classroom to education in the form of advocacy, not only for people with disabilities, but people becoming ill with Guillain-Barré or whatever issue it is they're facing. You know, sometimes I'm just the person that is offering a listening ear. Well, I certainly hope I've made a positive impact. I hope that people don't look so much at my disability, but at my ability to make a difference, to serve. And I know how much it means to patients when you visit them in the hospital and they can actually see somebody that's recovered and I can just relate to them at what they are experiencing and share with them what little wisdom I can offer to the younger generation. And in choosing careers, I would say most importantly is choose something that you have a passion for and that you love doing. Because you certainly won't be very happy if you're in something that you don't have a passion for or that you don't love doing. You hate to go to work in the morning? No. There's a great quote that I've always loved by George Bernard Shaw, and I'll try to paraphrase it. But he says, you know, I'm a part of my community, and whatever I have to offer, I need to give back. He also says life is like a torch, and I think that's so true. You can have a very dimly lit torch, or you can have a bright light that shines out into the community. And I think the last part of the quote is, he wants his torch to be all burned up at the end because he's given all he has to give. And that's the way I try to live my life. I would like to be a light of encouragement to people and a light of having a positive attitude, even though I do have a disability, but I learn to accept it and go on with my life and remain positive. Oh wow, what does my future hold? My husband would probably like me to retire from all my volunteer work so we could do some traveling. But I will continue to be involved in the community. Whatever comes up, I will evaluate and see. You know, the election's coming up. I also volunteer for that, for the whole election process. So I just had a call yesterday to see if I would work the early voting, take a lead in the early voting. So it's going to be a busy time this fall, and then I don't know what the new year will bring. But one thing I've always done is at the beginning of the day, if I'm going to be out and about in the community, I kind of ask myself, who will I meet today? Whose life can I make a difference in today? It's really neat to have this to remind me of all the things that I'm thankful for and grateful for, and most importantly, my health. Because without my health, I wouldn't be able to do any of these other things that I enjoy doing, and just being a part of the community and being able to give back.
My name is Nick Jamison, and I am 75 years old. Well, I've been retired now for 15, 16 years from the city of Winston-Salem. And I do a little bit of everything, everything from yard work to playing golf to volunteering. We do a lot of work with Habitat. We have a group of guys who we call ourselves the decon crew, and we work regularly on that. After the pandemic got lessened, we've been back to work for about 6 weeks now. When you talk about volunteer service, when you work for a public organization, for a local government, you're going to be involved, and particularly at the level that I was fortunate enough to get to. You see these people as you meet in the community and see their needs and what they're going through. So public service also has something to do with that, in that, I was in public service for 35 years. To be the director of Parks and Recreation, it was challenging. And it changed from year to year, from budget to budget, from council to council, from mayor to mayor, from city manager to city manager. They all had different pluses. And when you've got a ward system like the city of Winston-Salem have, with 8 wards, you're trying to make sure this ward gets that ward, this part of the city, the downtown, whatever it is. You're trying to make all of that come out and treat people justly and fairly with regards to what services you're providing. I think the reason they named the park after me was, there's a plaque over on the other side that you can look at and see what it says. I think part of it is longevity. When you're Recreation Parks Director for 27 years, and the council, the manager, my boss, Tom Fredericks, who recommended that as in naming the park, I think all that adds into it, and hopefully somewhere along the line, people thought I did a good job. What was my impact in recreation and parks? Hopefully it was to make the city of Winston-Salem one of the best cities in the state of North Carolina for open space, for recreation and parks, for rec centers, for pools, for all of the amenities that we so richly, we're a people of leisure. And when you look around this park, when I came into the recreation parks, there were no greenways. Now look at the city of Winston-Salem and the greenway system. And people love greenways, but we had none of them. There were no fitness courses. There were no dog parks. Getting park land throughout the city as we expanded from 140,000 people to almost 240,000 now. You've got to keep up with that growth. And that was what we were trying to do. And that's what the city council and the mayor and the manager are trying to do. And hopefully I was a small part of helping that happen. And that would be my impact. How does it feel to be named one of the 7 of the over 70? It makes you feel old, of course, but that's the nature of the game. But very humbling, because there are so many people out there that are over 70 that do so much work. My wife and I see it all the time for nonprofits, for their neighbors, for the community, and for organizations such as I mentioned earlier, volunteers that just give of their resources, they give of their time, they give of their experience, they give of their knowledge, and just because you're 70 doesn't mean you lose all of that. I'm just humbled to be one representing large group of people out there who do this and give of their time in their retirement, and that's what I do. Younger generation, what advice would I give them? You said involvement. There's more to life than work. Work is great, and you've got to have it, and you spend 8 or 9 or 10 or however many hours a day working. But there's, as you have these skills and this time, I mean, don't waste it on watching TV. Don't waste it on all technology and internet and all. Give some of that time back to your fellow man. You'll feel great about it. You'll feel better about yourself. People will feel better about you. It'll create a respect, whatever you do. Every job is important, and we've learned this in the pandemic. We see that all jobs are important. It's not just the higher paying jobs or this job. Every job is important in this world. And when you have a pandemic like we're going through right now, you really understand how important all these jobs are. What does the future hold for me? Well, I hope a few more years than this on this earth. I hope I can continue to have good health and great family. I got wife, 2 kids, 4 granddaughters, 2 of them in college now, 2 more that are getting ready to be there in a couple of years. So I'm hoping to see them progress and be successful, be good citizens. And, you know, just live the good life, play a few rounds of golf, do some more volunteer work, and work in Kiwanis, of course, like we've been doing for 40 plus years, do another pancake or 2. So, yeah, keep on doing what you're doing. That's what I hope to do.
My name is Sam Matthews, and I'm 81 years old. I stay very, very occupied with being the executive director of the Shepherd Center, so that consumes probably more time than I sometimes have in a day or a week. But I also try to continue to exercise and stay in touch with family and friends during the week. So I really miss the why at this point, and I also miss the personal contact with our daughters and their families. The Shepherd Center is celebrating its 35th anniversary this year, and our mission is to promote and support successful aging. And I really started this second career in an interesting kind of trajectory, if you will. I had been in you might say the finance world, but I was really in the technology field with the Wachovia Corporation for about 36 years. Had done a lot of volunteer work in the community while I was privileged to work with them. And it was really a tremendous opportunity, an educational opportunity to be working with a financial corporation, but specifically in the technology arena. I had the privilege to serve on a number of community boards over that period of time and began seeing the need in the community. And when I got to the point where I thought I might want to, quote, retire from the Shepherd Center, from Wachovia, I really felt like I wanted to reinvest my time. I don't like the term retirement. So I wanted to reinvest my time and my skills into serving the community as a second career. And so that's sort of what led me in that direction, having served on community boards in the past. What specifically drew me to the Shepherd Center and our mission of serving older adults really is sort of a family affair. My wife Peggy is a trained social gerontologist, has her master's in social work. And I've sort of, by osmosis, gained a lot of information from her, but also had responsibility for my aging mother when we moved her here from Raleigh. And then also working and dealing with my own aging. All of that just sort of came together, and it looked like a tremendous opportunity to learn more. I've always been a lifelong learner. Wanted to learn more and get involved. My work in the community previously in volunteer capacities to some extent had involved the aging community, but more importantly, it was sort of a broad-based volunteer involvement. I will be celebrating my 20th year with the organization in September. I was reading something the other day about, how is it that we seek happiness? And really the result of that discussion and article that I was reading was that really we find happiness through finding meaning and purpose. We really only have this one day, so you may as well make the best of it. Really, in terms of the impact that I personally am making, I really would leave that up to the people that I've had the privilege to work with over the years. I do think the initiatives that I've been involved in over the last 20 years have been extremely important. Not only being at the Shepherd Center, as I said, this is our 35th year. When I joined the organization 20 years ago, we were serving about 900 older adults in the community. And this last year, we were privileged to serve over 6,100 older adults with a lot of programs and services, direct services, lifelong learning, volunteer opportunities, health and wellness programming. All of that has meant a great deal to me. And I think the folks that I have been involved with have made that possible. To find meaning and purpose, as well as find opportunities to bring justice and fairness to individuals' lives and to families' lives has always been important to me.
My name is William Alexander McLean, but I'm known as Bill McLean. I'm 72 years old. I am from Winston-Salem. I attended St. Benedict's de Moore School for 8 years, my first 8 years of school. And then I transferred to Atkins High School, public school. I got a business degree and I went into banking. Actually, as a junior in college at Greensboro College. I was a vault teller. I remember the first day they took me down in the basement to the vault, and they opened the vault. I never seen that much money in my life. I didn't know that much money existed in life. And I was a junior in college at the time, and I worked for them for 2 years, and when I graduated, I got a personal banking position with Wachovia. I received a letter. There was a lady that was the manager there, I think her name was Webster. She gave me an envelope, and the envelope said, sign here and you get $1,200. And I said, well, what is this? Well, they said there's a guy in Winston-Salem, a black guy, who did a class action suit. And every black in the bank, every African-American, gets a certain amount of money based upon how long they've been there. I said, wow. I'm fresh out of college and I got a $1,200 check for nothing. So I signed it. And so at the time I was training people, we had a new personal banker kid right out of college. I was training him and I was working with the tellers, training some of them. Well, I came to work like a week later and the guy that I was training was my boss. I went crazy. I called my grandmother, of course. And she said, boy, don't you lose that job. And so, so I said, I'm gonna make it happen. They actually gave me 2 days off with pay, just to calm me down, I'm sure. So I called the attorney, and the attorney says, man, you got them, man. They're getting ready to get it. And so about 3 days later, after he'd done some investigation, he called me to his office, and he had this piece of paper. He said, did you sign this? And I looked at it, it was the $1,200. And when you sign that paper for 7 years, you can't go against the bank. There's a couple guys that worked for him, knew me, that banked with me. And they said, man, we need somebody to make loans over here at the bank. But they didn't know my dad was a mechanic, and I used to drive a drag car. So because of what I knew about loans, I could take a person on a demonstration ride. When I came back, we had the payments done. I done figured it all out, So I became a top salesman over there. I was sending money home to my grandmother. And so I guess I had been sending money home about 3 months, and so I went by to see her. And I said, so where's the bank book? And she showed me the bank book. There wasn't no money in the bank book. I said, where's the money? She says, what money? I said, all that money I've been sending here. She had cashed it, and the money was in her, between her mattresses and the box spring. Tons of money. Because she didn't trust the bank. I said, no, Mom, we got to put this money in the bank. And we couldn't put it all in there because, you know, you can't put it 10,000 at a time without explaining where it came from. So then we paid off, you know, her debts and all that kind of stuff, and she was so happy about that kind of stuff. And, so they were saying they needed some volunteers at the Boys and Girls Club, so I went over to volunteer. Well, I saw a lot of stuff that they could have been doing, you know, being a coach and all, and so I started asking them if we could do this, can we try this, can we do that? And they kept saying yes. So one day I asked them if why they didn't have any kids from the low-income communities, because there's some public housing communities right near there, and on my way to work, I see the kids out there, but I never saw them in the Boys and Girls Club. And I was told that I didn't want to get involved with that, you know. Yeah, I do. So we started going to pick up kids in the public housing communities. So before you knew it, that Boys and Girls Club was full of kids from public housing. I didn't know at the time, but the new director for the Housing Authority, they had just started a program called DEP. It was a national program. It's called the Drug Elimination Program. And they would give each housing authority $300,000–400,000 a year to do resident services. And so after he saw what I did with these kids, he says, would you come and set up our youth services department? I said, man, I didn't want this job, you know. He says, well, if you help me find somebody. And I says, okay. So I think the first time we talked, I was supposed to be there for 90 days, right? Well, 16 years later, I retired. When we talk about the type of impact that we've had, it's been very powerful, because we get calls all the time from parents saying, well, I never seen him read like that. You know, I didn't know how to operate a computer, but he's showing me. And for him to come and do his homework, you know. And so those kind of things let us know that it's having an impact. And then when the kids graduate, I mean, graduation day is crazy for my staff, because we're going from one place to another. Sometimes we spend a whole day in the Coliseum, you know, different graduations and that type of thing. I feel great about being one of the 7 over 70. Well, I think y'all made a mistake. I'm 29, at least I tell people that. My grandbaby said, they don't publicize you now. It is an honor. I had no idea what it was about. A lady that works with me, Miss Patterson, she said that she read about it somewhere, and she says, this is you. And I says, well, why you didn't tell me? She says, well, because in case you didn't get it, I didn't want you to feel bad. And to me, that's an honor that she even thought enough of me to do that. And you think about it, you know, there's a lot of folks out here over 70 who've done a lot of good things. And for them to recognize me is an honor.
An average day is basically spending time on the phone or on the computer, on Zoom or WebEx or other media, basically conducting meetings and talking with people. Right now, I'm also teaching one of the healthy living or living healthy classes for the Piedmont Triad Regional Council Area Agency on Aging. But these are usually 4 or 5 people who are socially isolated and pretty much needing some contact during the week and some assistance with health issues, questions, and so forth. And actually, the program is designed through Stanford University, and I've been working with it now for, probably almost 20 years. So as I started my career and spent the first 20 years doing other things, then I decided, okay, now it's time to go and to really concentrate on the field of aging or gerontology so that I can really spend the rest of my life doing what I really love. I always loved working, as I said, with older people because I looked at the wisdom and, you know, all the wise counsel and the wisdom and the compassion that they exuded. And it was as if, wow, did someone do that for them? Have they received some type of positive reinforcement along the way that would push them to that point? And that's what I wanted to do, to work with students so that I could prepare them to go out and really make sure that as we age, that we had the highest quality of life possible. So that's how I ended up going back to teach at Winston-Salem State University and also directing the gerontology program there for the next 10 years. So after that, it was just a continuation of what I started. You know, I've always told them to put their best foot forward, as well as I've told my students or any young person at church that I encounter or wherever. Put your best foot forward, you know, set your goals, and so that they will challenge you, you know, cherish your accomplishments once you accomplish something, but yet leave room to move it to the next level. Don't stop with that. Always use your skills and your talents to help other people. You know, I tell them to whom much is given, much is required. I'm so busy and I'm so, you know, so into making sure that other people their needs are met and that they're getting what they need, that I don't look at myself as earning an honor or an award or what have you. In fact, I've been surprised the last 3 or 4 years with different awards, and I'm going, why me? Why? And then I think about it and I say, well, you know, people are watching and people are really engaged with the activities that I'm involved with. So that's the result. That's the outcome of some of the work that, you know, that I've put in. Not that I feel that I'm so deserving. It's just that it really feels good to know that people appreciate it. I'm not complaining. It's just that I must have something to do or be engaged with something, and that really drives me, because I feel that, as I tell people, God did not give Althea the skills and talents that he gave her just for her. He gave them to me to share with others. And I've always been the type of person that I feel that I am blessed to bless others. That nothing that I have belongs to me or was just for me, but that I should share it with someone else. And that I would tell other people, you need a reason. You need a reason to do what you do. Not just to satisfy yourself or for the, you know, self-satisfaction, but looking at other people and seeing that through their living or through their activities, you can see something that you did or you passed on to them. And it keeps going, like the Energizer Bunny, keeps going and going.
Five Pioneer Sisters came in November 1947 to establish care for the elderly. And this is where it all began. Now, 7 decades later, that mission has never changed. We always brought the same spirit of love and kindness, hospitality and care, and a sense of security to the people whom we serve.
If you come to visit Pennyburn, one of the things that we often hear is that your staff here are so happy. How did you find such happy people? And the truth is that we all come together and we really work to make a difference. And in doing that, we make a difference for each other as well.
As soon as you walk through the doors, you can feel the welcoming environment. You can feel the love and the family atmosphere that Pennyburn has. Staff and residents are kind to one another. We greet each other with warm smiles. There's laughter around the corner. It's a very unique place to be, and it doesn't take long to be in the building to experience it yourself.
Once you realize that the dignity of the person is important, then the care itself just automatically follows.
There's so many great reasons to work at Penny Byrne. Penny Byrne has wonderful employee benefits like employee meals. We have a fitness center which has a gym and a pool. We host fitness classes such as yoga that our employees take part in. We have massage therapy. We have walking trails. So many wonderful reasons to work here, but the most important reason is the heart of Penny Byrne comes across in everything that we do, whether it's with the patients and the residents that we serve, or through the employees who work with us. Whatever the reason that brings you here, Penny Byrne is a wonderful place to be.